So here we've got the steering shaft out of the truck. It's on the bench, just to see if we can figure out what's going on with it and why the piece up here broke for the shifter lever. So the first thing I've noticed is that these levers here that go to the transmission are pretty frozen up. So what we're going to do is try to get these to free themselves up by spraying some penetrating fluid down there and some oil, just to see if that rust over time is sat in there and we can break that free. So we're just going to try to get this apart today and see what we can do. So the first thing is this actual steering assembly. You can pull this out since it's separate. So that's the first thing we're going to do, just to keep that out of the way. Okay, set that off to the side here. So from that point on, we've got to be able to pull the inner shift column out so we can get these pieces to come out as well. So we're going to attempt to do that here in a second. So the first step to get the shifter tube out here is probably to pull the turn signal assembly and then the shifter housing here. And so in order to do that, we're going to have to remove all these wires. And the only way to do that is to take them out of these connectors. And so what you want to do is make sure you get real good notes on how all of these are put in there, what color wires go into what, plug. And then all you simply have to do is take, and mine are just pulling right out. So if you can see that tab right there, that's actually what holds it into place. So you're going to have to push that tab right there down with the screwdriver, and then you can pull it out of the connector. So now that you have the connectors off there, you can snake all these wires out. Just gently pull them. Sometimes you'll have to work them out back here just to make sure that they don't get snagged. So now that we have that assembly out, we're going to set that up by our bag of parts here. And now we need to get this shift tube out here, right here. So we've got the column here. Since it was all rusted down at the bottom, figured soak it in some solution to try to get some of that rust off. It's been soaking for about 18 to 20 hours now. Coming?
Yeah, you got it.
Set?
Perfect. Oh, look, it's mated now.
So that's what the inside of that looks like.
That's pretty rotted out.
This is that tab that connects to these two here. Now, hey, look at those. Those should pull right out. Well,
perfect.
Right out might not be right out, but...
Hey, look at that. Oh, I wonder why they didn't move.
Okay, we've got our steering column out here. We're going to show you how that we can reassemble everything. Again, this is a 3 on the tree from a 68 F100. Bringing it out, we had issues with this piece right here not being attached to this shifting shaft anymore. So I got this welded up. That way it's back and it can, shift the gears down there. So what we need to do first is I painted everything to make it look nice and neat. Is take and put this collar on this shaft and attach it with this piece right here. So before I put the collar on here, I want to put plenty of grease on here to make sure it doesn't rust and it slides pretty easily. Okay, so we've got this collar here. It normally goes on this end of the shaft here, and you can kind of see where it's cut out for this little shifter knob type thing. However, it's been destroyed, and so it's no longer any good. So we're just gonna have to do without because I can't find another one and I can't find something to work with. So if you guys know of anywhere to get one, please let me know. But for right now, we're gonna do without. So now we're gonna put this shaft in the column here by just simply sliding it in this end. You'll get it to about this point, and the shaft will be right in there. So now we got to get our shift linkages in there, along with the plastic pieces and spacers. So before you put the shifter linkages in, you're going to want to sneak your wires down in. They basically just go from the turn signal relay here, down through this shift collar, and then into this tube right there. Then they come out down below halfway. You can see it right there. Okay, we've got our wires running through here now. So now we can put our shift linkages in. So the easiest way to do that is just stick your finger in the end of the hole here really quick and get the tube started like that. And then you got to arrange these in a certain order to make sure they shift correctly. So you got a spacer here that goes on the end. Again, it's broken, but we're gonna have to use it until I find a new one. Stick that right in there. And then you have this spacer here that goes in between the two. And then you have this shift collar that goes in there, but you gotta put another spacer on the other side of it. And stick that in there as well. And then make sure they're together. That way the bar will go completely through them. And just kind of wiggle them in there. Now the bar is completely through them. That should be good. And then this plastic spacer in between here, you need to turn that so it'll lock into the shift tube here. Okay, here comes one of the more difficult parts. You've got a bolt there underneath the steering column turn signal indicator, and you'll have another one there. And then you've got two slots there and there on the steering column that you have to get that into. So I would suggest putting them in the steering housing just very, very loosely with the nut on the other side. Both of them, and then I'll show you how to put it in there. It's kind of difficult. You gotta get them loose, throw it off to the side a little bit, and work it down so the square bolt head catches in that groove right there. And then you can tighten them down so the turn signal is attached to the steering column. So now the turn signal housing is attached to the steering column, and you can kind of turn the shift tube here, if you can see that, without turning the steering or the turn signal housing. So now what we can do is we can put the steering shaft actually in here, so we can bolt that all the way through. So we'll do that here really quick. You're going to want to put plenty of grease in this bearing right here at the end and stick this on in. Stick it all the way through. Okay, now we got the steering shaft all the way through. We've got this bearing that goes on here. Make sure it's greased plenty good. Just kind of slide it over there. That'll slide clear down. Then you can put this spring right on top of it. We'll push all the way down. Okay, now that we have that, we can just put the steering wheel right on here. It is a press fit, so kind of go on there. And then the next thing that'll go on is this nut here. Okay, we got that nut on there. Then this piece, and then the horn assembly just clicks in here like that, and you're done.
Go get some.